Hello there everyone, my name is Nervous Test Pilot and this is my very first StarCraft 2 cast. It's also my very first StarCraft 2 show match, and in this match I'm going to be taking on the mighty Joe, who is spawning down here as the blue Terran, and I am going to be spawning up here as the red Terran, and we're playing on Entombed Valley. Now, a couple of things about this match. Joe has never played multiplayer before. In fact, this is a best of 3 series, of which this is Game 2. Game 1 was his very first StarCraft 2 multiplayer match. Now, just try to take that in for 1 second. I am what I laughingly describe as a high silver player. I'm a fairly bad player. I play casually quite a lot. So, in many ways this is a mismatch. Although I'm not very high level, I have played a significant amount more than Joe. The reason this match came about was because Joe and myself were out, and he wanted me to come to a really terrible club in Oxford with him, and I said, right, I'll only go if you start playing multiplayer SC2, because he'd played the campaign previously, and I didn't think that was good enough. I thought he needed to play the man's game. So in his drunken state he agreed to play the man's game, but he also proposed that he play me in a match. So I said, fine, let's make it interesting, let's make it a paid match. So this was for £20, this best of 3. I did post on Reddit about this, with a few people saying that he was clearly hustling me, but I know Joe to be an extremely brilliant and trustworthy person. He would never do that. So he actually earnestly attempted to defeat me in a best of 3 show match. So what you're going to see in this game is some pretty much all-round dire incompetence on every side. As I said, I am only a silver player. Here you can see I decided to open with a 1-Rax expand build. I was just putting the barracks down at the front there, just to kind of try and get us into a bit of a macro game and see what Joe would do. Now Joe down here, he's chosen to also start with the barracks. Extremely conventional, stacking up his SCVs nicely there, and just running around his base a bit. But we haven't managed to scout each other yet. Here you can see my SCV is just happily pootling around the map. In the first game of this series, I just simply 3-raxed him because I wanted to assert my dominance. I'm a very insecure person, and Joe is an extremely good player of games. He's got the right competitiveness, the right psychology. So even though we were slightly mismatched in terms of skill, I have to say I was still reasonably terrified to play him. So here you can see now I'm just about to pootle merrily into his base. I don't see a wall off, which is something I would have expected, and there of course 2 barracks going down with a reactor. So again, I don't want to do any pressure too early. You can see very vigorous chasing away of my SCV there. That's good, he's got that down. I didn't want to do any pressure too early, so I thought, you know, I'll just 1-Rax expand and get a command center at my natural one to see how we're going. That was completely redundant. My train of thought wandered off. Doing this really makes me appreciate casting a lot more. I think everyone who watches competitive StarCraft should really try and cast a match at some point, just to gain a bit of appreciation for your favourite casters. So you see, now Joe, wary of my early pressure tactics from Game 1, is throwing down a bunker here at his ramp, just to make sure I don't do anything too ridiculous. And of course, you know, what better than 2 for the price of 1, a double bunker, just in case things get really nasty. Meanwhile, up here, I'm just continuing to pump Marines, not really doing all that much yet. Throwing down my command center and getting my factory ready to transition into everybody's favourite tank Viking. Yes, the amount of tank Viking games I'm sure everyone's seen means that nobody is tired of it yet. It's completely fantastic strategy. It can be used in almost all situations, and it literally never gets boring. Well, this is one of the only competent things I do in this game. I decided to take the watchtower in the middle just to give myself a bit of scouting room. Joe throwing down a scan. Now, one of the things about Joe's play that really interested me was that he was really into kind of trying to outthink me, trying to see what strategy I was going to do. And of course, StarCraft 2 really kind of does hinge on knowing what your opponent is going to do and trying to counter it. Unfortunately for newer players, mechanics and the actual basic skills of the game tend to supersede any kind of strategic element. Now, our friend Malakian was watching the game and for some reason randomly decided to quit and then blame that on his computer, which is completely characteristic behaviour. He did miss the climax of this game, which I'm just going to mildly spoiler for you right now, was pretty impressive. So here I go, fairly standard again, trying to get a starport to try and vaguely get some Vikings going. Getting my siege tank floating my command center and landing it down there. But in Joe's base here, you can see he's also going for a command center. So bear in mind, his second ever game of SC2. He's getting ready to expand. He's dropping his mules. He's actually managed to not be supply blocked, so it's all fantastic. Many SCVs on the way. Again, the right kind of thinking, but perhaps too many queued up there. I get a bit wary of what Joe might do. I think he might be building to some kind of almighty push, as I did see those barracks. So I just randomly decided to get a bunker for no really good reason whatsoever. And there is a bunker. And a tank coming down here. Don't think I have siege mode yet. No, I don't. There I am, researching it, merrily just standardly bludgeoning my way through a TvT, as I like to do very much. I was just going to mention that I went to Barcraft in Seattle, the very first originator of Barcraft, while I was out there at PAX, and it really was a phenomenal experience. So I do urge any fans of StarCraft 2, I'm sure you've heard this many times, if you haven't been to a Barcraft yet, do go and check one out. There's one in London which I'd really like to attend. Maybe I can specialise in incompetent lower league casting for everyone. Now, here is a very key moment in this match. Joe decides to go for this amazing Ninja Expo, and I just want this to be underscored by some incredibly dramatic music, because this is just absolutely phenomenal. He doesn't want me to know where his expo is. He wants to trick me into thinking that he's one basing. I think this is amazingly high level play. So off he goes, as far as you could possibly fly pretty much with this command center. It really is a thing of beauty watching this sail over there with the wonderful ultra graphics flames coming out of the backside. It's kind of the flying donut of hope, the Terran juicy donut of joy and deliciousness about to come over and land down here just to try and cement Joe's tricky little strategy. But the question is, what is he going to do with all of this extra income? I mean, he's got one tank there, he's got his bunkers at the front. Meanwhile, here I am just boringly sieging up my tanks at my natural, trying to, again, thinking that Joe might do a big push. Of course, I haven't scouted the front for a while. I'd like to say this is because I'm trying to leave him some room for surprise, but in fact it's actually just because I'm incredibly lazy, and I'm trying to macro away and trying to do all those good things. Joe, in fact, is now taking his second gas, so we might be seeing some tech out of him at any time soon. I'm just going to randomly bring up the army supply, worker supply tab, because I have the power as the caster to do that. And you can see actually that he's not kind of all that far behind me. I do have a lot of trouble actually just making bloody units, which is the fundamentals of the game, and he is almost defeating me in that already, despite being unplaced. So what's going on over here at the Ninja expansion? Not a lot, and I think this is one of the flaws behind this plan. It really would help if he made some SCVs out of it, or perhaps transferred some SCVs over, but he chose not to do that. I think focusing very much on this little bio strike force out here in the middle of the map there. Not quite sure what his plan was with that. But again, I am just trying to mass up some tanks here. Pretty low Viking count up there. I don't quite know why I was doing that. Again, feigning competence, trying to take out these rocks. I expanded over here because I don't plan very well and thought that this would be a wonderful place to take my third in an entirely unpressurized situation. So again, we're just kind of sitting here trying to size each other out. Game one was pretty speedy. So Joe's now going to move out with this little bioforce, and he's just going to go and investigate these beautiful caves in the Entombed Valley. Perhaps go spelunking. But the Marines there, doggedly heading off across the map, ready to perhaps do some pressure, perhaps just have a scout around. Again, pausing to look at the wonderful, beautiful foliage that there is available from the Entombed Valley tourist board. And finally, we get some SCVs over down at this expansion. Again, not so great with the rallying, just popping them out there, but taking some gas as well. Pretty impressive. He really does seem to have a good grasp of what he's doing over there. So this Bioforce are getting worryingly close to my base now. Again, I think Joe's strategy was to kind of put a bit of pressure on me at this point. He did mention to me before the match that he thought he'd like to combine a sort of economic management style with a stress-inducing pressure build attack, which I thought was kind of very salient in this situation. If he had put a bit of pressure on me, I think I could have slipped up a bit more. So it's kind of scary, but I feel well prepared at this point. I feel like, you know, if he's going to pressure my front, I've got lots of tanks there. I do have some Marines and a Viking in case he does decide to go for a drop, but as usual, not being exceptionally organised about that. Down here in the base, we do see a lot of Vikings queued up, as well as a tech lab on that starport. Wasn't really sure what was going on at this point. I don't think I'd scanned for a while. I decided to get an eBay. I'm not entirely certain why that was. I think I might have been afraid of Banshees or something. Yes, now I do notice this Bioforce down here and decide to coat my tank, but Joe, unfortunately, deciding to run past the siege tanks there. He has not yet learned the immense fear of the siege tank that everyone has. Fear of the hidden siege tank. Everywhere in your life as a metaphor for disaster. A siege tank lurks on a cliff, ready to disembowel you with its forceful blasts. So Joe just going to hang out down there with that rather sorry little Bioforce. Again, continuing to pump his Vikings, but what's this? That's right, there is a fusion core and there are battle cruisers coming out for Joe. So Joe has very cunningly gone through the entire tech tree, something which I was totally oblivious to at this point in the game. Here I was thinking, a new player, I've massed up my mech army, he'll probably just have barracks units. Shown me this little strike force down here. I think, this is going to be easy, it's going to be a one base barracks unit rollover. I'm just going to get my tanks to a good position and blast the living crap out of the front of his base. So I'm completely in the dark here right now. Finally managing to saturate my third base, get my refineries, and I've got a fourth going here also with refineries and a planetary. Feeling pretty smug about myself right now. And Joe kind of constructing some additional production facilities down here and getting ready to defend with even more bunkers. I think the campaign teaches you to love bunkers. If you've been auto-Zerg rushed enough times, I think bunker affiliation is something that you grow to enjoy greatly. I think I'm sneaking off here to try and take my fifth base. Yes, I am. Again, strangely reluctant to mass expand, which is something I could have done a while. But you can see I've almost reached my supply cap here. I think most of it, that wasn't an entirely helpful thing to bring up, but you can see that I'm floating a wondrously ludicrous amount of minerals. In fact, collected a wonderfully ludicrous amount of minerals throughout the course of the game. I really should tell Joe about rallying SCVs. I didn't tell Joe that much about the game before playing because I wanted to see what he would do from just his knowledge of the campaign. I should probably have mentioned that earlier. He was a fairly extensive campaign player. I did ask him if he knew what a Banshee was and what he might do if they appeared in his base. I think I was nice and didn't build any Banshees during this match. So here I decided to free up some supply, send some SCVs to their inevitable doom, and interestingly I think we get a bit of an SCV fly past here. And here come the SCVs moving into Joe's base, and they get suitably decimated with that lovely ultra gorgeous explosions of that blizzard. Literally rub themselves every time they see those. They are so wonderful. Now I'm just kind of parked at home. I think I built some Hellions to try and use up some of my inevitably hugely floated minerals. Joe taking this other base down here. I really wonder if he'd just gone for more expos, because I was really expecting him to one base. He could have taken every base on the map, and due to my lack of scouting I wouldn't even have known. The battle cruisers, only 2 that I can see down here so far, so not kind of in mega battle cruiser production mode. That's a lot of Vikings though about to come out for Joe. He really is investing in this amazing Sky Terran composition that I have no clear idea about. Scan goes down, he sees that I've still just got all my tanks sitting there, not really anything exciting happening. The forlorn Bio-Taurus party now gets scouted by my Hellion, and I think at this point I decided to just move out and decimate those. And yes, the blue flame going down, thoroughly thrashing those weakened mortars and marines as they lie burning on the floor of the Entombed Valley for more tourists to come and collect fossils of later on. Now we have a little lull in the game at this point. I'm not quite sure what I was waiting for. I think I just wanted to see another attack out of Joe, really. If I check my player camera, no, I'm sort of tootling around. I decided to get some Ghost Academies in order to just maybe throw a little bit of a surprise into the mix. Dropping a mule at my base there, all very stimulating. Yes, that's the best thing to do with freed up supply in a TvT, is just mass ghosts, because it increases the comedy value, as you will see later on, by a huge degree. So, deciding to move out with some ghosts now. I'm not quite sure what my intention was. I thought I'd just go and mess some things up a bit. So that's my plan. Now the Viking down here, just having a little poke around. I think at this point I might have seen a battle cruiser. No, I didn't. Intriguing. Anyway, having a little poke around, just a bit cautious, trying to see what Joe is scheming, what he's planning. Now, he did scan and see the ghosts coming, but to be honest, I'm not sure he was completely ready for the insanity that was about to ensue. As the medevac makes its ominous progress down the map, we do wonder what Joe is doing. I think he's just continuing to mass his fearsome Sky Terran arsenal. Here you can see loads of Vikings and 4 BCs. Now, my plan here was to actually go and nuke the BCs, but I couldn't find them because I'm an idiot. So I decided to, in fact, go and attack Joe's front, not expecting him to really grasp the mechanics of Cloak. This, ladies and gentlemen, you are about to see perhaps the stupidest nukes in the history of the game. I decided 1 nuke for each tank would be a good idea, and I decided just leaving my ghosts there also would be a good idea. And as you can see, not the best plan anyone's ever had in their life. So that was somewhat unfortunate, and what better way to follow that up than with the phenomenal conga line tank Viking push. So here finally we have the Terran Doom push making its merry way down the map, about to crush what I thought was a ridiculous noob player. Here we go. Now, let's take a look at the vanguard of these siege tanks as they come in. And what's this over here? It would be the entire Sky Terran army of Joe going for a big engagement and just decimating my Vikings. But unfortunately for Joe, he has neglected my tanks, and they slip past into the mouth of his main, ramming down the throat of his production facilities. But meanwhile, he decides to just go for broke. He's made this Sky Terran army and he's going to use it. So the battle cruisers approach my now defenseless base while his main is being decimated. Here they go, about to take out this tank. They spy another tank. And a number of times this has happened to me at a somewhat different stage of the match, I have to say. So here I am thinking, you know, all I have to do is base race here. I can just take out his buildings and I'll be fine, not having scouted the 2 Ninja Expos. Now, the BCs progress into my base, and things are looking pretty hopeless, I have to say. It's just taking out all the units I have at my front here, and there's not much anti-air in there. I start to get a bit scared at this point, so over here I throw down 4 starports and get ready to start making Vikings to try and take this out. I do manage to supply block him with my relentless pursuit of supply depots. But here we go now, a big engagement inside my main, just taking out my remaining Vikings, and he's going to really punish my production facilities right now. I've got 3 ghosts down here which I don't manage to cloak, and they get rather consumed with flames, which is totally unfortunate. The Vikings coming in as well, attacking that one solitary Viking over here. I've been rallying, frantically trying to rally Vikings in from these starports, and I'm kind of wondering, is there anything I can do? Is there anything that can possibly save me from this assault? I start sending the rest of my army around looking for hidden bases, looking for things I've missed. But what's this? A massive nuke from my ghost. And then this is one of the saddest things I've ever seen. He just doesn't spot that second nuke coming, and there go the pieces. A thoroughly unfortunate conclusion. Punishing that Ghost Academy for its reckless nuking behaviour. and with only this one very wounded BC left, it takes me a long time before I find the rest of his bases. So kind of a foregone conclusion from this point. I think all I had to do is just rally in a Viking and take out that BC, but this really goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, that I think if you are playing SC2 and you've been playing for a while and you get challenged to a show match by one of your friends who's never played multiplayer, you should really take them up on it. Go through the experience, because you will see some fairly amazing play that you otherwise wouldn't. I did finally manage to take out that battle cruiser up there, and that was the end of the match. Well, thank you very much for joining me on this odyssey of my very first cast. I do hope you liked it. I have no idea if I'll ever do this again, because I'm supremely busy, but thank you very much for watching, and do follow me on Twitter. I'm at Mode7Games. Thank you.